The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a site-wide change to our Turtle website. We're going to insert a background image, and this will affect all of the pages. So if you guys look in the folder that I gave you, inside the images directory, I have two new images which we'll be using in this part of the development. And let me just open these so I can show you what they look like. The background image is simply a 10 pixel wide by 850 pixel high image, and it starts off with blue and it is white down at the bottom. So it's just a gradient that goes from blue to white. We're going to use this as a repeating background to create a little bit more texture on our website. The other image, called contactturtle.jpg, is just a image of a turtle. It's 960 pixels wide, and I just created a gradient on top of it so that the left-hand side was kind of faded out. I'm going to display the contact information here on the left, and then the turtle image will appear on the right, and this will just create a little bit more visual interest on the contact page since it's not going to have tons of content displaying on it. So these images are called background.jpg and contactturtle.jpg. We'll deal with putting the background image into our website first. I'm going to go into my CSS file and I'm going to apply this rule to the body tag, and I'm simply going to just tell the body to have a background image, and then I'll use the URL and open the parentheses. Note that there's no space there, and then I simply need to navigate to where the image is saved. And remember, we're going from the CSS file to the image, so I have to go up out of the CSS folder and then into the images directory, and then I need to find the image that I want to insert on the page. And when you specify background images on your page, you can also specify if you want them to repeat in a specific way. For us, we want this image to repeat in the horizontal portion of our page. I created my image so that it was blue to white. So if the page is longer than 850 pixels, it will just fade out to white and it'll still look really good. So I'm going to also tell my page that I want this image to repeat, and you can use the background repeat property, and you have the options to tell it to simply repeat, which it does by default. It'll just tile both horizontally and vertically, but in our case here we want to restrict the repeating to only repeat in X, so we just want it to repeat horizontally. And if I save my page and we go look at it in the browser, you can now see that I have a gradient that displays. And if I go to my gallery page, which is the longer page, you can see that it goes from the turquoise color down to white. It eventually just fades out to white. This just creates a nice addition to our website. Visually it looks a little bit more appealing, and because I applied this to the body tag, it's a global change. It's going to affect every single page on my website. So that's looking good. The next thing that I want to do is create the contact page. So I'm going to go into my editor and I'll just start from my Turtle 2 page. I'm going to do a save as, and I'm going to save this as contact, and I'll go in here and just make some changes. So I'm going to change the title tag. I don't need to change any of the path structure because this is saved in the same place. I will move my current page class though and put it on the appropriate A tag. Now I'm going to get rid of both of the divs, the iColumn1 and the iColumn2, because I want this page to be unique. I don't want those things to exist, so I'll just get rid of those. And I'm just going to update my comment here so it says interior content. What we'll be doing on this page is we're going to create a new div, and I'm going to give it a class of contact box. And inside contact box, I'm just going to put some contact information. If I save this page now, and if we view this page in the browser, you can see that this is what this page currently looks like. So with some CSS, we're going to jazz up this page a little bit and make it look a little bit different. I'll go into my CSS and I'm going to come down to a section where I can make my specific rules for the contact page. Just like we've been doing in the past, I'll add a comment in there so that I can isolate the contact rules so that they're in a specific location within my CSS page. And then I'm going to make a rule for .contactBox, which is the name of that div. And what we're going to do here is we're going to specify a background image just like we did before. This time I'll use shorthand notation just to show you how to do that. So with shorthand notation you can pass on the background image plus other parameters like repeat and position and things like that. Again, I need to come out of my CSS folder, go into the images folder, and locate the appropriate file that I want to display here, which is the contactturtle.jpg. In this particular case, I don't want this image to repeat, so I'm going to pass on the no repeat value. And if we save our page now and look at it in the browser, you're going to see that the image is going to display, but the image kind of gets cut off, and that's because the box is only as big as it needs to be to display that the content that we placed inside of this box. So because I want to have this be a specific size, the box, I'm going to add those declarations to my rule as well. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to add a width, and we'll add a width of 960 pixels. I made the image 960 pixels, so it will fit that. I also made the height 234. So in this case, I'm going to pass on the height value as well, and I just made sure to add a height that would accommodate the text that I wanted to display within this section. So now we can see the entire image. That looks a little bit better. I do want to push the text away from the edge though and format the text. To push the text away from the edge, I'm going to add some padding. So in addition to what I have, I'll add padding all the way around of 20 pixels. Because I'm adding the padding, I need to subtract the padding from the width and the height. So I'm going to have padding all the way around to 20 pixels. 20 pixels on the right, 20 pixels on the left, that's 40. I need to subtract 40 from the overall width, and 20 pixels from the top and the bottom. I need to subtract 40 from the overall height. So I'm going to adjust these numbers to accommodate for the padding. Remember, padding gets added to the inside, so that's going to affect the overall width and height of the box. When I display this now, you can see that now I have a little bit of indentation, and that looks much better. I'm going to style this H4. I'm using an H4 right here so that this looks a little bit different. So I'll add a rule for H4, and I'm just going to set the color. I'm changing the font weight to normal instead of bold. I'm adding some margin, and I'm specifying a font size. I'm also using the strong tag, and I'm going to specify that I want anything that is styled with a strong tag to take on a specific color, so I'll just add that rule as well. And now when I save my CSS and go look in the browser, our contact page looks like this. So you can see that using the background image is a way that you can kind of jazz up your page, and background images are nice because you can actually put text on top of them, and this kind of just helps to create a more visually interesting page by adding a little bit of a layering technique to our website. So there you go, complete the website. Good luck.